Go.
Okay, can you hear me? All right, good. So welcome. This is actually David's first webinar series. It's the first of 7, and the series is called The Acts, the Beginning. The understanding of how resonant kindness can be put into the world and used immediately. So tonight is the first of the 7, and we will focus on finding the resonance. David is asking for interaction from the community, so let him know that you are listening. You can post your comments and questions on Ancient Echoes on Facebook. That is facebook.com/distantancientechoes. I can put that in the chat in just a minute. So my name is Jacqueline, and I've been listening and traveling with David Lonebear Sanipass for the past 6 years. The words that he has shared has drastically changed my life. He brings ancient teachings that have come through his Megama elders and teachers who traveled from around the world to his mountain in northern Maine to teach him when he was young. He is the first and only Sagean to bring the star teachings to the non-native world. He is a seer and translator of spirit. So we're asking that you get your pens and pencils ready. David shares massive amounts of information. So write down as much as you can. Write down your questions. David shares this information that comes from copper scrolls that have been dated back 20,000 years. He is able to share this ancient information in a way that we can use it right now. When you leave this call tonight, you can take this with you, you can use it. These teachings are to be implemented into your life and to be shared right away. David is clear it is time to share this wisdom, not to give it away, not to have it taken, but to share. So I'd like to welcome David to his first webinar. Series.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Yes, this is my first webinar. We had conference calls before. I want to know if anybody's out there. Tonight I'm going to be sharing some information, YACT. YACT is an acronym, so if you look on our Star Teachings, you'll find that. I've been doing this for a while. I've been traveling and sharing, and it seemed like I've been traveling and nobody's been listening. But, you know, I've been doing this for 40 some odd years, about 42 different years. I've been out there in the powwows and gatherings, and wherever somebody invited me, I went and told my stories. So I've been doing this for a while, but it doesn't seem like very long sometimes because I've been so busy doing other things and doing the science part and the math and raising family and doing all that stuff. So years do go by really fast. Today I'm going to ask you guys to do me a favor. You may have great memories. You might have a photographic memory. Even people with photographic memories need to change the film sometimes. It's like write some of this down because there's a lot of information here I'm sharing with you this evening. I haven't done this for about a year, so this is my first webinar. So I am anxious to get started and get some of the information to you. I don't know, some of you guys don't know me too well. I was raised a basket maker. I come from a basket maker's family. That's how we made our living. We made baskets for a living. We didn't order our wood from China. We went out into the woods and harvested ourselves, prepared the wood, and made baskets and sold the baskets too. And that's, my mother's still here. She's still a wonderful basket maker, and she's making baskets, and all my family makes baskets. So I think they're online. Check out their baskets. I do other things too, and some of the science stuff that I do. That I work with high atmosphere magnetic disturbance. So when I say high atmospheres, it's way up there. I work with a lot of balloons sending things into space to monitor, to collect, and to take pictures. And I will do another webinar just about that sometimes. But today we're talking about spirit and what spirit is and what we think spirit is. So there's a lot of things out there in this world that we get involved with. Is trying to understand, is there a God? Is there a creator? Is there something else out there listening to us or even cares? And I know that we put a lot of time into looking and praying and traveling about this, and we spend a lot of time, I'm kind of lucky at an early age that I didn't have that question if there's a creator. I knew at a very early age there was a creator. So that been pondered my mind a lot. What pondered my mind is that this world, when I was growing up, is changing and is still changing today. And what's it changing to, though, is that we right now we have technology in our hands and we can talk around the world just with a couple pushes of a button. When I was growing up, we needed the telephone or telegraph to send messages around the world. But we can do that instantaneously, almost without even a thought. So yes, the world is changing. For the good, the bad, yeah, that's true, but I guess the way you look at it. I've been thinking today, I've been a little bit busy today. I'm thinking and preparing for this day. I've been, the last couple of months, I've been preparing just for this webinar just to get this information out to you. I look for truth. And truth is kind of hard to find sometimes because it's disguised. It's just disguised in a lot of different things. Is there a creator? I went online this afternoon and typed in creator. And what the creator is, they create something. And whatever that creation is, that we're creators. We're creators of math and poetry and music and all the different things out there. But, when you say a creator, we're thinking of bigger things. Creator, who created this earth? Who created you and I? Who created the life forms on this earth? We have a lot of speculations about that, what the creation is, and I see a lot of things out there, but what is the truth? How do we believe in that truth? I know that a lot of people say, just use your heart and heart will always find the way. That's kind of the truth, yeah. But sometimes it leads us into the dark shadows and it leads us into other things that we can't explain. So the act of kindness, the act of compassion, the act of happiness. Wow. And we think about that, and we talk about love, and love will solve everything. We've been working on that one for a couple hundred years. We're still working on it. But if you look around you today, what's going on, we're so involved with our phones and internet and Facebook and all the different things and all this technology to get information to you, So how do we use it? LOL. I mean, if you go on the line, you get 1,000 abbreviations for other abbreviations. And that's a different language. I didn't know that language 10 years ago. You probably didn't either, or 20 years ago. So we are speaking a different language out there from 20 years to 30 years. So the people that's a little bit older, it's harder to understand what's going on. Well, unless you're right into it and doing the thumb thing, text message back and forth. I'm not. I can barely read your language, let alone speak it or try to write in the text. If anybody got a text from me, it's a mystery of some of the things I say. I don't even know what I say. But we look out there into this world and trying to figure out what's going on. And how do we act? How do we act with the social thing? How do we act at work, how do we act in madness? How do we act in kindness? How do we act in any different things? Myself, I'm from a different place. I come from a different culture. My thought processes are different. And I think differently, you know. So I grew up, I grew up with my family. I had a great family. My mom and dad were great. They raised me right. And, you know, I have no complaints about that. They're the best mom, the best dad, best family. And my sister's the same way. They're the best family. But the things around us, the culture, the communities, didn't welcome us too nicely. Some were nice, but at that time, and still is, you know, there was a lot of prejudice growing up in the world. That to be a native, I was not proud to be a native for a long time, because all the name calling and all the different things that were out there were people calling me, and I wasn't happy to be native. I see online, everybody wants to be a native now. You know, it's like, you know, talk about the creator, feathers and drums and all the different things. That's great, but that's not how we are. You know, that's if you know anything about being Native American or understand being Native, that's not what we are. You know, that's the glamorous part of it, the Hollywood part of it. But I think, you know, we've been talking about acts, and I was just trying to figure out how my life was changed by somebody calling me a bad word or swearing at me or trying to beat me up or something like that. I think the act inside of me, where my family came from, you know, is that my father says, stand up if you have to stand up. Run away if you have to run away. And people don't really understand that. It's like being Native, that we think we're warriors. But when you're just a one warrior against 1,000, you have to think differently. You can stay there and fight if you wanted to, but most likely you're going to lose. You have to think another way besides fighting. And if that is running, become a good runner. If that is talking, become a good talker. And I became a good talker. I've been in a lot of fist fights and things like that, but I thought about it. So, okay, there's a reason why people are afraid of us. We're different, but not in a bad way. But people in this world don't like being different sometimes. When we see something in this world that's not right, we're scared of it. Just like the Star Teachings, you know, some people, what the heck is that? You know, what kind of teaching is that? What kind of Native American teaching is that? All cultures are Native American that were part of that. How our culture develops socially in the community has a lot to do with that. What kindness is, to help when somebody needs help, to be the word of honor, to lend that hand that you don't have to ask. And your world is hard with this. It's like you guys deal in the financial end of this. It's like, if it's worth it, I'll buy it. And just in our culture, a person is only good as his word. But that's hard to do in this world now, because we're all caught up in the financial end and buy this, buy that, buy the cell phone. If you can't communicate, be in that culture. When we were growing up, if a family needed help, be no question, we would go and help. If we needed help, help came. But how do you teach that in this day world? Do you give $1 when somebody needs it? But money won't solve a lot of different things. Is that if we are of spirit and of that kindness inside of us, that the dollar doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter. Is that part of this world? Is that we want peace in this world? Well, we have to have peace of mind. And when people hear that, I don't think they really understand what that really means. It's just not being contented with where you are is understanding what that contentment is in your life. I'm not the greatest speaker in the world, believe me. Some of the words I have a hard time with, the bigger words and trying to put them in there. But I understand kindness and the act of kindness that is going out of your way to do something for somebody else and not ask it in return. And this is the hard part because everybody wants to be rewarded in their kindness. Look what I did for this person. I'm kind. Do you realize if you did that and told nobody, you would be rewarded 100 times more than you told somebody? For some strange reason, in this universe, there's a reward system. And that reward system is the inner vibration, what makes us of spirit. And it doesn't take somebody saying, good job. We want to hear that most of the time, but if we just do that and take the next step forward in evolution, in the spiritual evolution, is do it without question and without any response back. And don't tell anybody. You will sleep better. Your sight will get better in spiritual sight. And you would have a little bit of ringing in your ears because spirit then is trying to talk to you. When spirit starts talking, it's like, it's scary. I mean, people don't realize that they said they hear voices, but to hear the true spirit, your spirit guides, is awesome. It changes your life. It changes your path. It's because there's something better out there in this world besides hatred, besides talking about people, besides putting other people down, you know. If you tear somebody down to put yourself up, you build nothing. But if you put that person in front of you and cared about that person and not asking in return for some strange reason, it comes back. I give an example. Is that, you know, I'm a martial artist. I have studied martial art for 40 some odd years and I still practice it today. You know, when I first started practicing, I didn't practice because I wanted to be in balance with the universe. I didn't practice because I wanted to be one with myself. I practiced out of hatred. Is that at least 3 to 6 hours a day for many years. I did push-ups, ran, I broke bricks, boards, and I practiced every day so I would not be hurt anymore. And everybody said, oh, you're so devoted and you have a black belt and everything, but that wasn't the reason. I wasn't doing it with harmony. I was doing it with anger. You can do both ways, but you find if you do it in harmony, you get further, you get more. It took me many of years in the martial arts, but keep practicing. It became that I didn't want to fight anymore. I didn't want to hurt anybody anymore. And I became nonviolent. What's that mean? That means if somebody hits me, I will run away. I would not use my aggression to hurt that person. That's very hard to do in this day and age now because, you know, we're taught to turn the other cheek. So that's kind of hard to do when you get slapped in the face or spit on or something happens. You know, usually that the metaphors come out and the fingers come out. Then usually as the fight pursues after that. That's a hard way to solve problems. A target makes a very poor impression. So I'm still a teacher. I still teach, and I try to teach the non-aggressive way, to have fun. If somebody does want to hurt us, at least we have a choice to run away. That we'll use a last resort for fighting. And that is an act. That's a hard act to follow, too. I'm hoping that this message gets through to you, all of you out there, that this is the message. We are not alone. And I says, well, yeah. I've been working as a scientist for the last 40 years on high altitude magnetic disturbance, I told you that. But I've also been sending up different devices into the atmosphere, listening to sounds, listening to the universe, listening to different things. And so I'm listening to radio messages, yes, but I'm listening to the hiss of the background of the radiation called the Big Bang, all the different things. And 1977, that was many years ago, that we celebrated in a ceremony. And that ceremony was the change in this earth. 1977 is a long time ago. And we had the 1,000 drums. I don't know if you guys remember that. There's 1,000 drums playing for 3 days straight. The drummers just kept up, and it was a big ceremony. A lot of people came. That ceremony was about bringing change to this earth, actual change to this earth. And we pray about it, and we look at this earth, and the earth is always changing. I don't know about climate control, but the earth heats up and it cools down, and it's like 13,000 years, and it's going another ice age. So the earth is changing. And we're expecting, because we're humans on this earth, is to not to change. And when we do see change, we blame it on our fossil fuels and all the different things out there. We might have something to do with that, but I don't think we have a lot to do with that, because humans are this small in the universe. We're not big and bad like we want to be. If Mother Earth wanted to get rid of us, it wouldn't take any effort at all. There's been 7 extinctions almost to the humans, but 7 times. We're on the 8th time right now. So that's if we behave ourselves. And when I say behave ourselves, is that we should stop killing each other. We should try to get. I know that sounds so simple. Stop killing each other. And most of the people listen to that say, "No, that's easy. We won't stop. We stop killing each other." But it's going to be the earth acting. It's going to be communities understanding this. I see that a lot of protests on the Facebook and all the different things. They go up against the authorities, the police, the army. They're going up against the wrong people. They're humans just like you are. They get paid for what they do. I think it's the politicians, all the people that's making these laws, that we should protest them. How come they're not in the front lines? I'm not asking anybody to protest, but it's just to see what's going on out there. That we do a lot of different things to try to have change in this world. I tell people, change starts with you. Changing your mind, keeping your mind open, always open of spirit. Because when we keep our mind open, then things will flow in. But if we keep our minds like a roof, things bounce off. We need to be open. It's hard to get wet when you're in the rain, when you have an umbrella. That we want to be able to be acceptable to spirit, and what spirit has to offer. You come and hear me speak, I talk about spirit a lot. And what spirit is, it is quality in your life. As you look in the mirror and you see it, and you think you see something backwards, but you're really seeing it the right way. We change it backwards because our mind right now, we're seeing everything upside down, and our mind turns it around, and it's backwards. And we wonder how this world is that when we see spirit, it's like quality. We're looking into the mirror. We're looking at things the right way, not the backwards way. And that's why that when we see a picture in the real view. That's your hair is parted wrong. It's because our subconscious says, that's not me. But we see in the mirror, that's the wrong way. Sometimes we look at that, my hair is parted right side, but on a picture it's different. Look at it. So spirit is the true self of the inner consciousness. Is that inner consciousness, in that consciousness of our existence is we don't have senses of touch. We're not hungry. We're not thirsty. Our mind is in the blue light, in that star. Because in this world, it's hard to do that because we're in physical pain. Most of the time, something hurts. We eat, we need to drink, we need to do all these different things. That's not a spirit. That's keeping this body alive. All the critters inside you that need nutrition, so we're feeding them. So when we say we're in spirit, it's like, okay, how can we be in spirit all the time? Well, we are. It's just that consciousness tells us that we're not, that we have to be in this, I get a lot of questions. And a lot of those questions are, why do we suffer? Well, we suffer because we have little pain things that keeps us from burning ourselves. We have the body has to be function a certain way. If it doesn't function a certain way, we go into pain, and that pain is always with us. Sometimes no pain some days, but sometimes with pain. The suffering in the mind is that when we think about that, it's like, okay, why am I suffering? Well, you can suffer, that's part of it, but it's part of nature, is understanding your environment and who we are, and it's part of it. It's like cold and hot. You can have hot all the time, but you can have cold all the time. But we think about the medium, we're at least 60 to 70 degrees. So that's good. It's just like being human. In your life, you're going to be able to think about when you have no pain. You might not have pain now. But it is a transition of spirit that we feel physical pain. And that's a big question up there with you guys. The message that we are listening today is a message that I translated, I think it was last year, maybe it was like that. And that message is that did get an answer. But that answer was very hard to detect, So, and one of them is that I went to the mountain and went up on the mountain and prayed. And I did get a message, but it was a mathematical message. And it wasn't like a message that you would think like, okay, free the world or do something. When I went up there and brought that message back, it took me a little while to translate that message. And I didn't really think it was a message at first, because it was quite a long binary code. And when I did translate it with all the other information that I received, it kind of matched up like a puzzle, a 900-piece puzzle with 900 other pieces missing. If you go online, you can see that message. Somebody will leave a link to find that. My suggestion: listen to that message. Listen to it in my language, the Mi'kmaq language, and listen to the English language. And when you put those two together, what happens is that they combine some sort of other message to everybody else out there. I mean, as messages to me about the message to you, but you have to listen to both of the messages to be able to translate to, because people have listened to that. And they say, well, I hear something else. Yes, it's tailor-made for this earth to you if you're going to listen to the message. What I receive from the message is that they are listening. Someone is listening, and they're trying to help. But we're not hearing them. We're playing Star Wars. We're playing all the different things, but we're not quite listening to that message. They gave me some root numbers and root words to look for the people that are listening. For the last year or so, I've been talking to a lot of people, but they haven't hit the root words or the numbers yet. But I know you're still out there. So, and that part of that message is for you. It's not for me. They say they want to help. They've been sending help for the last 83 years. Here, but we are not listening intently in that message. And when I say that intently, it's like we can think of what a message is. Someone saying we're going to send help. What kind of help are they going to send? And we think, okay, it must be light reading or clairvoyance, but it's a pretty basic message. If you are hungry, they will send food. If you are tired, if you are spirit, they're going to send some sort of thing that we can understand. for the community. It's not one person. This is one of 7 messages. I only deciphered 1, and I'm working on the 3rd. And I will be revealing the 3rd in Sedona. I think I have most of that message deciphered, and they were very insistent is that I don't bring this message over this machine. Most of the message has to be heard in person. If you're watching this, and if you can get to Sedona, please come. As part of that message might be for you, and it's a quite extensive message. I think that message, once people hear it, it is going to change the way we think of this world. When I first started the translation of it, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I've been doing this for 40 some odd years, looking for some sort of a credible, intelligent message that I can understand. But a lot of it is just I get little glimpses here and there of different events and things like that, and I'm pretty accurate on that. But it didn't give me the 900-piece puzzle. The 3rd message kind of fills in number 2, number 5. So, and what that message is, it's time. It's like a time message. So if you can get to Sedona, please come. To be in the STAR teachings and to bring these teachings out to the communities. I've met a lot of different friends out there, and there's a way that you can help. And just by knowing you out there, that helps. But there's a couple other things that we can do. They are looking for us if we understand the message. When we say a higher consciousness, it's not even that. It's a different timeline and a different thought process of how they think. We keep on thinking, we look for the higher consciousness. It's not even that. Is that the way we think as humans kind of stops us from thinking beyond that. Because all the rhetoric that's out there, that we kind of mix that up with some of the other stuff that we know. So it gets very confusing after a while to try to figure out if there's a God or a creator or anything like that, what's going on, or a programmer. And part of that is just around us. So our surroundings and the people that we hang out, the books that we read, the things we see on YouTube. I mean, no wonder we're so confused. And what is the truth? You know, I've done a lot of UFO research, looking for UFOs, different locations where they are. It's hard to do that now because of CGI. People get on there and they're really good at this stuff, and you just go UFO after UFO, and I take it apart and realize it's just CGI, somebody messing around. Do we really want to know? Is there a really research going on? It's just are we believing these lights that's in the sky? Some of them are pretty credible. There's a lot of things out there. But where does the research stop? Where does it begin? Where does the hoaxes, where does the actual contact begins? And I'm sure some of you guys have heard, some of you guys have made contact. That's great. What do they say? Are they here to help? What's going on? And that's, as a scientist, that's kind of my dilemma. Who do you believe? What's credible? Did something fall off a UFO that we can look at? Is the pictures credible? What kind of, is that digital? Has it been triggered? I mean, there's hundreds of people out there doing this, and some of them are just looking for views. I'm looking for the truth. And that truth is that, let's find out, what do they want, or if they even want anything. There's too many things out there that is unexplained. And that's kind of where my research is, unexplained, and going and looking. We're working with a lot of projects around the United States. We're working with the Biodome. If you don't know what that is, look it up online. We're working with that. We're trying to get that running. A couple of places up in Canada that we're going to be working up there on different researches going on. We're going to get it back into the balloon research. We haven't sent a balloon up for about a year, maybe 2 years. The balloon gathers information on the high atmosphere. It points cameras out to space and down, looks on the Earth, and it tells us what's going on. It's very credible. And most of the stuff we won't put on YouTube because it will get lost in all the different things. You'll find some in there, but you won't find the real pictures on them. We're still trying to figure out how we can release them to the public so they can see. Because if they can do that and it's credible, then maybe they might change some of the person's beliefs. Says, oh, we know what contact is, and we are looking for contact. Been doing this to try to understand what kindness is too. Is that kindness is in the world, compassion's here, and happiness is here. How are we be able to share this? There's different ways of doing that. One of them is that let's find out who you are and who I am. Come and find us. Find out what we're doing. We are trying to make contact too with you and whoever else out there that wants to make contact with us. There's other communities out there that we are looking for to make contact with. Maybe that you do some of this research, or in the act of kindness that we can get in touch with you to show you what we're doing, and you can show us what you're doing. And that's part of what that message is about. It's making contact with this earth. Not to the governments to be or all the other things, it's to individuals like yourself, different community members that are looking for the truth. There's a movement on this earth. That movement is that we're looking for change. And if it's kindness, that's great. If it's love, that's great. If it's happiness, that's great. But how are we going to work together to do that? I go on Facebook and look at all the different things, and I think I have about 2,000 friends I've never met. That's incredible. But how do we work with this? We have the greatest informational tool to man right now. We're right on it. We can send information all around the world. Be able to make contact. How do we do that? How do we do that in kindness? How can we be in resonance of spirit when we do that? I'm a Native American. I come from a traditional background. We've done ceremonies by ceremonies by ceremonies. Ceremonies that should be done. We should be able to share some of the things that we learned from ceremony. That's hard to say because, Mi'kmaq, we're endowed in ceremonies. But ceremonies is so we can remember who we are, what spirit is. I know that people out there are looking for different things, and they grasp on to our culture and how we pray and how we do different things. And I think that the Creator, no matter who you are, if you don't even know of any spiritual thing, your voice is heard. If your voice is heard, the Creator hears you. That's the change that's looking for. Spiritual change. Spiritual change has a lot to do with what the message is. The message is to be in kindness. That is spiritual change. Time to stop the wars. Time to be able to venture into space if we can, freely, to try to take some of these barriers and bring them down around the world. Just not in just in your place, and then all the communities. You know, we're scheduled to go to different countries to speak. And the next couple of weeks, I'll be speaking in Sedona. And if you can get to any place that I speak, please come. I would want to meet you. I know that I get a lot of messages online to people asking questions. We're working on to try to get back with you on that information. My phone can't handle it anymore. I just get so much information. We're working on just saying hello to you. So please be patient with us. We're working on it. And I think when we talk about the Copper Scrolls, you know, Copper Scrolls is like a car manual. It doesn't have the answers to the creation. It doesn't have the answers to your problems. It doesn't have things on there that, you know, make the world crazy. It's like a car instructions. It tells you where the spare tire is, how to use the jack, how your car runs, the fuel system, all the different things out there that makes a car run. That's kind of what the Copper Scrolls are. They're just a thing to point in the direction. Are they sacred? Well, that's really up to you what sacred is. I've been translating these for years and still getting a lot of things that I've never known. It's like, oh my goodness, there's people in the world. I didn't know that. I didn't think people really cared about kindness anymore, you know, because if you watch the news, that kindness is not part of that. So the news ain't part of kindness. It's about information. Most of it's false. We are on a journey together. And that journey is to explore this world, the people, and get them ready to explore the universe. You know, that sounds kind of cliche, you know, like explore the universe. Do we have spaceships we can do that with? Do we have UFOs? I'm sure we can find one somewhere. I think part of that truth that I was talking about is kind of what we just said, is that to look in one direction, be able to look in that direction together as friends, no matter what happened in our past. To be able to share that information freely without you have to pay for it, to benefit from that information. In the Copper Scrolls, it tells us that direction, but it also gives us some sort of directions on machinery, ancient technology, different sources of energy, and how to build it. When I say how to build it, it gives you actual diagrams of what they are and what they do. It's not free energy, it's just another way of getting energy in a little more efficient way. It tells of a structure that's in the Copper Scrolls itself. You would call it a temple. I guess I can spill the beans today. It's almost a direction to build, not even to build, what Atlantis looked like. That's incredible. I know that everybody I see online, Atlanteans and all the different things out there. I'm not saying that's not true, but it's like there's only a couple mentions about Atlantis in your literature, and we just added to it and kept adding to it. In the Copper Scrolls explains in some of the stories what Atlantis was. And if you look at your culture and some of the stories that have been passed down from India especially, is that some of these machines were cities. I guess we'd call it a floating city. Atlantis was a floating city. It never disappeared. It just disappeared from the human eyes. So remember, that's just, some of it's just stories. You know, how do you believe those stories? It was just mentioned in the book. physical, if you see it physically, I guess that's kind of adds credence to the story. So that's kind of the stuff that's in the scrolls, and which I'll be talking about a little bit more. Is it true? Well, I've put some of these machinery together, and they do what they say it does. It does produce energy. Some different ways of metallurgy, medical, chemistry, mathematics. I mean, it's not what we do now, but being able to think of different ways of using math. We can't get to the stars because our math is it's not complicated enough. If we're going to, so we have to think differently to get to the stars. Even how to build a better structure, and how to do it more efficiently without wood or anything like that. So a lot of this is just held in the scrolls, and nothing's being done about it. You know, I have been working on some of the things that have, some of the machines. They do work, but it's not for me. It's not for any individual. It's for a community, and this is kind of why I'm doing this, is getting that information out there. Been doing this alone for a long time. We have some devoted people around us that makes this possible. Me to speak with you, me to go to Sedona and share some of the information. Thank you. You know who you are. Thank you guys very much for having this support, because it means a lot to get this information out there and be able to share it with you. And there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot more information. This one is about ACT, and we talk about ACT, and that ACT is, what do you want to do? How do you want to proceed with this? This can disappear really quick. I think that the last 5 years that I've been here, that we went in a lot of different directions to try to get this information out. And you think this information, because the information is so, a lot of information, you think it would get out there pretty easy, but it's been a struggle to get to this point with this information, because there's a lot of things else out there that we're not competing with, but it's like, all right, what do you want to do? And it's just like what's going on now. It's like, what do we want to do with this information? You know, we can sit on it, and I can keep talking, but proof's in the pudding. Is that all right? What's next? You know, I've been doing this for 5 years, and I think the next thing is to start to bring the information to the communities. And we've been doing some of the information that was been mentioned in the copper scrolls, and it's been working. Part of those is being able to understand what spirit is. That we have I wouldn't call it a ceremony, but there's the thing that we do is called TEAS, and that's an acronym. It's that we have been practicing that for the last 5 years, and it's been working. And that's receiving information from out there. And there's a certain way of doing it. We have people that right now are doing that and receiving credible information from that. And the copper scrolls tells us how to do that efficiently, so we can get information. Other ways is that like this here is bringing information to you. I'm not the only teacher here. We have other teachers that are with us, and bringing that information out to you. We have different events scheduled. I'll be speaking a lot of different places, so I think there's going to be a schedule posted that, so you know where we are, so you can come, because I'm not alone. I don't travel alone. I usually travel with 4 or 5 different people to help to set these up, and so look for us online. I mentioned several months ago, about May 17th of 2018, that there would be lights in the sky. That event did happen, but it was so remote that nobody had a chance to take any pictures of what that happens. That's coming back. So they're pretty well on schedule, so I'll announce that schedule here pretty soon. I guess I like questions too, that part of those questions that you post that I will get to. We've got a lot of people who are going through that information, but I would like to know what your questions are. What do you think? So, and that's important because a lot of this is not one way, it's both ways. You ask questions, we try to answer them. Maybe if we can't answer, we'll find somebody to answer it. Maybe that you have an important clue, one of 900 pieces of the puzzle that we can work with. And we would be very receptive to that information if you do have that. So, find out to start teaching. I think that I have they just put a new information in place. What was it? I have a new email address. So look online. I think you can find it on there, or we can make it known. So find out where we are and get that information to us so that we can try to answer that and hopefully try to meet you at one of the talks or something like that, because I'm looking for the star people. And there's a way to find out if you're a star person. If you're not, that's no big deal. It's that something that you have information that you can share to this world, and I would like to meet you. So I just want to thank you this evening for listening to me, and that we're going to see how this works. And as long as there's a demand for this and people want to hear the information, I will be here to try to share some of this information with you. This is good because you get to see me, but I don't get to see you. So but I just want to thank you tonight. I'm very honored to speak with you tonight, and I just want to make sure that you guys go in spirit. Thank you very much. You guys have a great evening. Thank you.
Information. Thank you, David. Okay, so wow, thank you. Some information coming up. Oh, lots of information coming in. Thank you. I'll get to those in just a bit. Next week, David is going to be speaking again on Thursday from 8 to 9 p.m. That's Eastern Time. We're going to be in Sedona at that time. David is scheduled to be speaking, I think it's on Saturday, next Saturday, August 4th, I think, with Zuni Elder Clifford Mahudi. So if you can get out to Sedona for next weekend, that is going to be an awesome event. First time ever that these two will be getting together to share. And that's an all-day event from 10 to 5. We're going to post some more info on Ancient Echoes on Star Teachings. David mentioned the teas. The teas are listed on the Star Teachings page. There's facebook.com/Star Teachings, and that's where the local community has teas, time, earth, air, and space. It's gatherings to gather more of the information and the teachings. Right now, there's some scheduled in Maine and near, North Carolina, sometimes New Brunswick, and Washington State. So David is asking, what do you think? Sending your information and sending your questions. You can send those on to the Ancient Echoes Facebook page. That's facebook.com/distant Ancient Echoes. But he also has a new email that we're helping him with. There's lots of information coming through, so it's taking us a while to sort through everything. But we do want to hear you. We do want to read what you have to say. And that email, I'll post it too, but it's David Lonebear, Sanipass@gmail.com. So thank you very much, and we look forward to hearing from you soon. Thanks for joining us, and see you hopefully soon.